Assassin's Creed Brotherhood had a wide range of multiplayer characters that had some actual stories or information about them, and by far the most detailed one is the story of Fiora Cavazza, a woman who worked with Cesare Borgia but ended up betraying him and actually causing quite a lot of damage to his schemes. With that said, today I'll be explaining her full story, but before I begin I just want to say that almost 95% of my viewers are not subscribed. So if you want to stay up to date with my content and want to see more Assassin's Creed videos, then please consider subscribing as it is greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that said, let's begin. The earliest thing we know about Fiora was that in 1497 she lived and worked as a courtesan in the Rosa in Fiore brothel, which is in Rome, under the management of Madonna Solari, but life within the walls never satisfied her. Ambitious and determined, Fiora hoped to win the favour of influential clients, enough that one of them might one day grant her a way out. She often slipped beyond the brothel to gather information and cultivate allies, a habit that earned her both admiration and jealousy from the other girls. Among her acquaintances was Brother Ristoro, a former patron who insisted on speaking with her often. Fiora enjoyed his company despite finding both him and his perversions repulsive. During her time there, Fiora and another courtesan, Lucia, were sent to escort Solari's brother, Santino. The assignment quickly turned grim. Santino treated them with cruelty, and Fiora could tell that whatever shady dealings he was involved in, they were beginning to fall apart. Not long after, a new client arrived at the Rosa in Fiore, Cesare Borgia. Charming, enigmatic, and unlike any man who had came before, Fiora was instantly drawn to him. She assumed he had come to hire her, but Cesare soon clarified otherwise. Santino had already been punished for meddling in business beyond his reach, and to spare both his and Solari's lives, they had allowed Cesare to claim one courtesan of his choosing. He chose Fiora. From 1497 to 1502, Fiora served Cesare Borgia with unwavering loyalty, posing as a courtesan while living under his protection. In her very first year in his employ, Cesare ordered her to seduce and assassinate his brother Juan on Tiber Island, clearing the way for Cesare to claim the title of Captain General. Over time, Fiora not only managed many of his Templar agents, but eventually began recruiting them herself. One of the first agents that she worked with was Brother Ristoro, the same corrupt clergyman who once frequented the Rosa in Fiore. He provided Cesare with religious relics and forged letters for distribution as needed. Another loyal supplier was Lea de Russo, a smuggler who trafficked in everything from worthless trinkets to priceless antiquities. Fiora also came to know Auguste Oberlin, Cesare's personal blacksmith. Acting as a messenger between them, she often delivered Cesare's requests for weapons and supplies. Auguste complied, though his wife clearly resented the arrangement. Fiora watched as their marriage gradually unravelled, noting how the couple would growl at each other like wild dogs whenever she departed. In 1502, Fiora visited Gaspard de la Croix, Cesare's engineer. She found him alone in his house, singing a sorrowful French tune, and hesitated before making her presence known. To her, he seemed a man burdened by ghosts. His questions about death unsettled her, and when she prepared to leave, he refused any payment. As she walked out, she noticed him quietly adjusting an arquebus, its barrel aimed deliberately at the people passing beyond his window. From then on, Fiora chose her path past the house with great caution. In time, Fiora was charged with expanding Cesare's underground army, a group she referred to as his personal collection of misfits. The first recruit on her list was Rocco Di Polo, a seasoned captain from whom she was to secure the finest mercenaries available. She was then tasked with bribing Donato Mancini, renowned as Cesare's best horseman, to intentionally lose a race scheduled for that day. Donato, however, remained unmoved by Fiora's bribes and threats. Even after Cesare dispatched an officer to sabotage him, Donato still won the race. Next, Fiora met with the Cento Oci, a band of thieves led by a young man named Lanz, whom Cesare suspected of robbing one of the Borgia carriages. Rather than punish them, Fiora negotiated a deal. Lanz would return the stolen money, and in exchange, his gang would enter Cesare's service. Cesare later paired Fiora with Baltasar da Silva to observe one of their greatest enemies, the Order of Assassins. Together they witnessed one of Cesare's senators being slain in broad daylight. Though Fiora felt humiliated when the assassin escaped, Baltasar remained optimistic, intrigued by the glimpse they'd gained of their weapons and tactics. Fiora's next assignment brought her into the company of Cahin and Kahar, a brother and sister duo of harlequins. She found them totally mad yet fun. The three of them proceeded to massacre a group of onlookers who had gathered to watch the siblings perform. She then met Il Carnefice, a sadistic executioner who revelled in the brutality of his work. Fiora considered him more revolting than fearsome, but still she served as a messenger between him and Cesare, delivering instructions whenever needed. Her final task in this string of errands was to approach Silvestro Sabatini, Fiora offered him a second chance in Cesare's service, presenting a prosthetic arm forged by Gaspar. At first, Silvestro scoffed at the gift, demanding jewels and rare metals to embellish it, but when Fiora casually threatened to take it back to Cesare, he snatched it from her and strapped it on without another word. Cesare's final assignment for Fiora was perhaps his most disturbing. She was to make contact with Malfatto, a deranged doctor notorious for butchering the courtesans of Rome. The task terrified her, not only because of his reputation, but because she herself had once been a courtesan. Still, Cesare insisted she deliver a letter of absolution to earn his allegiance. Her first attempt to track him down ended in horror. She found only his most recent victim sprawled in a pool of blood. On her second attempt, Fiora dressed once more in her old courtesan attire, hoping to draw him out. When Malfatto finally appeared, he lunged straight at her, but she managed to hold him by shouting Cesare's name and thrusting the letter into his hands. That night, Fiora returned to the house Cesare had gifted her, but sleep would not come. In the dead of night, she felt a sharp sting at her neck. Startled, she reached up, not to swat a bug, but to find Malfatto pressing a syringe into her skin. The drug took hold quickly, but not before Fiora slashed him with her metal fan. She blacked out soon after. When she awoke, Malfatto was gone, but something in her had changed. Her loyalty to Cesare had fractured. She resolved to betray him. Fiora then compiled a list of Cesare's most trusted agents, the same ones she had carefully recruited, and sent it to the assassins. To her surprise, the one sent to retrieve her was none other than the young painter Francesco Vecellio. Fiora joined forces with the assassins and helped eliminate the very agents she had once recruited. The first to fall was Rocco Topolo. She later assisted in the deaths, or at least the downfalls, of Cahin and Cahar, Baltasar da Silva, and finally Il Lupo. Once her vengeance against the Templar agents was complete, Fiora answered a summons from Cesare Borgia. When she arrived, she caught the eye of his presumed son, Giovanni. Later, Fiora and Cesare shared a quiet dinner, but their civility barely masked a deep mutual distrust. Cesare pressed her about the sudden disappearance of his allies and her rumoured dealings with the assassins, but Fiora denied everything. Later that night, Giovanni spotted her sneaking through the house in search of the hidden Apple of Eden. Mistaking her mission for play, he grabbed the artifact and darted away, gleefully challenging her to chase him. Fiora panicked as she tried to retrieve the piece of Eden, but its power froze her in place. Awakened by the commotion, Cesare approached the immobilized Fiora. When Giovanni asked Cesare if he intended to hurt her, Cesare answered calmly that he would. Her fate, it seemed, was sealed.